The Child's Play franchise has been all over the place. Sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes we get something like this. So today I'm ranking the entire franchise from worst to best. That's all the movies plus the TV show. And while I'm doing it, make sure you drop your ranking down in the comments because I've seen tons of rankings of this franchise and none of them are the same. Coming in last place is Seed of Chucky. If you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm about to say. None of it works. There really isn't much to say about this in a positive light, unfortunately. It really does a full 180 of what the franchise has been known for, and even after this movie, what it becomes. It's just a complete weird mess of a movie where it dives so hard into the humor, so weird into the ideas that it wants to do, and none of it really works. It's not that enjoyable to watch. And like I said before, the ideas here are just so off the wall. You have Redman here for whatever reason, and he's not as interesting as Busta Rhymes was in Halloween Resurrection. So there is that missed opportunity. And then you have Jennifer Tilly playing Tiffany, but also playing Jennifer Tilly. There's a lot of weird things going on here. And then you have Glenn, their son, and it's all over the place. Definitely last place, in my opinion. Next movie on the list is Child's Play 3. Now, this is a movie I just watched for the very first time this month. Somehow I missed it in all of my years watching horror movies. And I gotta say, it really didn't hit the mark for me. There are some good kills in this, as you'd expect in a slasher movie. But overall, the setting is just not interesting. The characters are not interesting. And the motivations are not that interesting. When you go from having a very likable, main lead in Andy as Kid Andy, and then you make him an adult, you just kind of miss that gap in his life where you're starting to be really connected to him as a kid and wanting him to survive all this. And now he's an adult and it's a different actor and it just doesn't, there's like a disconnect there. And I really do appreciate them trying to mix things up, making Andy an adult, sending him to military school, and just trying to change the formula up a little bit. So overall, the characters just aren't that interesting and some of them are pretty unlikable. The setting isn't that great, and overall, none of it really did work for me. Next up is the last movie to be released, Cult of Chucky. I remember watching this for the very first time years ago when it released, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I do like how they brought in tons of different Chucky dolls and the idea that he is not in just one doll, but multiple, and he can possess people and dolls, and it's just, that's the type of thing that Seed of Chucky didn't succeed in. This is a wild concept that shakes up the formula a little bit, but doesn't go too crazy and off the wall. It's a cool concept that keeps us guessing of which doll is he in, what's going on. It has this mystery to it until it's revealed towards the end what's actually going on. And I love that they brought Nika back. I like her as a main character. Now overall, I didn't like the mental institute, the mental hospital setting, just because everything looks so sterile and white, and it just felt boring. It felt very generic, and I understand that it's a mental hospital and they wanted to go with this aesthetic, but for me, I don't know why, it just took me out of the viewing experience. Now, there are some awesome kills in this, and maybe that's why they went with the white aesthetic, because of the blood and the transparency there. But overall, I think this is an enjoyable movie for sure. I just think it's a little bit more on the weaker side of the franchise. Now this next one, y'all are gonna hate me for, but I have to put Child's Play 2 right here. I just watched it recently for the very first time as well, same thing as Child's Play 3. And while I really did enjoy the ideas it brought and the formula that it has, because it copies a lot of the same things as the first movie, so it feels like a very natural sequel, I think it plays it too safe and doesn't do anything new for me. Whereas in the first one, and we'll get to that later on, I really like the characters and the dynamics between the characters that we want to live. In this one, it's just Andy for the most part. It's just Andy trying to survive yet again. And once again, I just don't think this one did enough for me personally to shake things up and make me really interested without saying, oh, I've already seen this movie before in the first one. Next up is Child's Play, but not the original Child's Play. We're talking about the Child's Play remake. When this was first announced, I was a little bit indifferent on it. I didn't really care that they were doing it. I'd go see it. It didn't really bother me too much. But then I heard that Mark Hamill was gonna voice Buddy the doll. That got me really interested. So I went to go see the movie and I walked away pretty impressed with it. Now, I went in with low expectations. Mind you, I didn't care that they were making this, but my expectations were low because you never know what to expect with remakes. And it did enough here to where, yes, it's called Child's Play, but they have a lot of ideas here that really differentiate it from the original. So if you watch the original and you go and watch this one, there's enough here to make it stand on its own. Honestly, if they just changed a little bit more, plus the title, this could be its own separate movie. Kind of like how Megan came out and it's about a killer doll Same thing here. It could be its own thing if they just change a little bit more to it. But overall, I thought it was really good. I like the inspiration that it brought from the original Child's Play with this mother and son dynamic, with this doll, but then they do a little bit extra stuff with the doll that's not just a straight up Chucky is possessed type thing. It did enough for me to warrant its existence. And that's all I really want from a remake. But then it went a little bit further with the kills and everything. It's just a really enjoyable remake that I would definitely suggest if you haven't seen it. The Curse of Chucky. This thing felt like a breath of fresh air for the franchise, especially coming right after Seed of Chucky. You already know how I feel about that movie, and I'm sure a lot of you already feel that way about that movie. But Curse of Chucky felt like a breath of fresh air, like we're stepping into this franchise for the very first time, because it gives us brand new characters. There's no ties, there's no talk about Andy, about Tiffany, until later on. But for the most part, it's a brand new story. It's a brand new thing that if you know who Chucky is, that's all you're getting. That's it. But then it has this mystery of who are these characters? Why is Chucky here? How did he end up with these characters in this house? And I feel like it has a really good payoff at the end. The kills are okay. The kills are all right. Some of them are better than others, but overall, I think that it's the mystery and the simplicity of this story of not having to deal with all the lore that came before. It's just a straight up slasher movie that if you've seen the movies prior to this, there's gonna be a lot of rewarding things in here. But overall, I think the simplicity of it works really well for it. Plus, this is the beginning of Nika's story, which, like I said before, I like her as a protagonist. I think it all comes together in a really good package. And kicking off the top three, we have Child's Play, the original Child's Play. I remember when I was a kid walking around Blockbuster. Remember those days? Those were good days. You're walking around Blockbuster and I'd walk down the horror aisle. Mind you, I was small and I saw the cover art for Child's Play and I was shocked. I was not happy about this. That's kind of where my fear of dolls came from when I was a little kid, is because Chucky. And then I asked questions. Who is this guy? And then as the years went on, I started to learn more about this thing, but that's where it started, is that cover art. That cover art where he's just looking menacing, scary. I'm like, a doll becoming alive? Why does he have a knife? All this stuff. But that's just a trip down memory lane for all of you. Child's Play is an awesome movie. It's such a cool concept. It's such a different concept. And the voice of Brad Dourif as Chucky is perfect. Like, there is, I dare say, is there another iconic horror icon voice that's more distinct than Chucky? I don't know if there is. Maybe Freddy, but I'd still say Chucky, especially with that laugh. But this is where it all started. This is where it all started. And you have Andy and his mom, the dynamic of a single mother trying to take care of her kid for Christmas, and she gets this doll and things just go terrible for her and him, and there's a lot there to grasp and find interesting and root for the protagonist, while also they do the Jaws thing of the slow reveal of this doll. You know that the serial killer Charles Lee Ray is in this doll. You see that at the beginning. But when is it going to show you? When are you going to actually see this thing come to life? And I gotta say, the payoff is awesome. I think this movie works on so many different levels. If you have not seen the original Child's Play movie, go check this out. It's a classic. It's a classic. It's important for horror, and you'll see what I mean by how far the franchise has come from its roots to the shakeup of Seed of Chucky and everything past that. It's wild, but this is where it all started, and it's awesome. And coming in second place is the Chucky show. Now, I gotta be real with all of you. When this show was announced, I believed in this less than the Child's Play remake. And I should never have. I gotta believe in Don Mancini. He brought it in this. The thing that I love most about this show is, first of all, Chucky is essentially the main character. You have Chucky doing his thing over here, but you also have the human characters over here, which I didn't like them at first, the human characters, but as the show went on, I did like them. And I like how it followed their story throughout the series. But Chucky is the main character here, and I love that. I want more of Chucky, and they found this great, fantastic balance at showing the psychotic nature of Chucky and how brutal he can be, and it doesn't shy away from the gore. Just because it's a TV show, it really goes hard into that stuff, but at the same time, they have that balance of the humor that we all love from Chucky. So I think that this show did it best at balancing all the things that I love about this franchise, of showing the humor of Charles Lee Ray, of Chucky doing whatever he's doing, and the one-liners and the smart-ass remarks, but also being brutal. And then you have the human characters over here growing right before our eyes, and their storylines. There's just a lot, as you can tell. I'm just kind of going back and forth between both of these things. It's a lot of fun. It's not going to work for everybody. I can tell you that right now. Especially, I think the second season kind of dragged a little bit. But overall, in the 3 seasons, I think it's an enjoyable watch. If you're a fan of Chucky, if you're a fan of the Child's Play franchise, if you haven't given this show a chance, I'd say check it out. If the first season doesn't grab you, I don't know about all that. And my number 1 pick for the Child's Play franchise is Bride of Chucky. This was my entryway into the franchise. Like I said before, when I was younger and I saw the cover art for Child's Play and I learned more about Chucky, I was terrified of that thing. I was so scared. And then somehow, it's probably just my age and when the movie came out, the one Chucky movie that I saw first was him when he was all stitched up and looking probably the scariest he's ever looked. But that's my entryway. That's what I did. I went headfirst into this thing. And it was really nice because at the time, once again, I was a little bit nervous to watch this thing, but it was such a rewarding thing because it's brutal. This was like a good entryway into horror for me. But at the same time, there's that humor that I just said that I loved most about Chucky. This is actually kind of the first time in the franchise where they lean really hard into that. And this is another example of finding that balance of gore, of humor, and they just come together in a really nice package. Now, the story itself isn't all that interesting. It's really nothing special at all, but I don't know if any of these stories and any of these movies in the franchise are actually all that special or unique. But what we have here is a really fun road trip movie, and I actually think the best part about this movie is, once again, having Chucky as the main character, but also introducing a new doll in Tiffany and having that banter between both of them back and forth throughout the movie. It is just insane. They go a little bit off the wall, but they do keep it reined in enough where Seed of Chucky that comes after this just goes completely in that direction and doesn't work. This one, they rein it in, they mess around with a few different ideas, and it all comes together in a fantastic package. This one, I could watch again and again. It's the most accessible movie I feel like in the franchise, and it's just a fun time. You can throw it on in the background, you can sit down and watch it, you can show someone that's kind of nervous to get into horror, you can show them this because it does serve as a reboot. There's no real ties to Andy from everything that came before this. So this is a great jumping on point. This is a great fun movie, and I don't think I'll ever get sick of it in my entire life. But that's my ranking of the Child's Play franchise. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you check out this video right here. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.